We always talk about letting go like it's some kind of heroic battle, right? Like you're constantly fighting your own desires. But what if that whole idea is just wrong? What if real detachment isn't a fight? What if it's something that just happens once you finally see the whole picture? Let's get into it.
Yeah, think about it. What if letting go felt less like wrestling an alligator and more like a system update? One that just quietly removes a bug from your code. A total shift in your internal operating system where the desire, it just vanishes. That's exactly the idea we're going to explore today, and it all comes down to one really powerful ancient word.
Okay, so the word is Nibbidā. It comes from the ancient Pali language. Now, here's the thing. If you go and look this word up, you're probably going to see it translated with some pretty, well, negative words. Words that make it sound like you're forcing yourself to feel a certain way. But honestly, that common translation, it misses the entire point. It misses the sheer elegance of what's really going on here.
And this is the core of the misunderstanding, right? When we hear words like aversion or disgust, we immediately think of pushing something away, of fighting it. And man, is that exhausting. It's like trying to force yourself to hate your favorite food while your mouth is watering. It's just a constant uphill battle, and let's be real, it almost never works. The real meaning, though, is so much smarter and way more powerful.
So to really get it, we've got to do what any good detective would do. We go back to the source. We're going to crack this word open, break it down into its original parts. It's kind of like looking at the source code to understand how a program really works. Okay, so it's basically two pieces. The first part is ni. Now, ni is a prefix, and it means out, away, or negation. Simple enough, right? It's all about moving away from something. The second part is the root, vid. And vid is all about knowing something directly, to see, to know, to experience it for yourself. So you've got this movement away that's happening because of direct knowing. And when you snap those two pieces together, bam, you get the real meaning. Nibbidā isn't about forcing yourself to feel disgust. It's a systemic withdrawal. It's the totally natural, automatic process of turning away from something because you've seen it so clearly, so perfectly, that its appeal just, poof, evaporates. See? It's not a fight. It's a consequence. I know, that might still sound a little bit abstract. So to make this absolutely crystal clear, we're going to walk through 4 modern-day analogies that I think perfectly capture this aha moment, this moment of disenchantment. All right, first up, imagine some buggy software. Picture this. You finally buy that super hyped video game you've been waiting for. The graphics are stunning, the trailers were epic, but then you actually start playing, and it's a complete mess. It crashes all the time, it's riddled with bugs, and to top it all off, you find out it's secretly stealing your personal data. That moment of clarity, that's Nibbidā. It's not about getting all angry and yelling at the developers. Nope. It's that quiet, calm, simple thought, oh, this just isn't worth my time. It's that powerful, almost silent, systemic refusal right before your finger just naturally moves to hit uninstall. No debate, no drama, just done. Okay, analogy number 2, the toxic candy. Imagine you're eating the most delicious candy you've ever tasted. It's just pure, amazing sweetness. But then, right in the middle of enjoying it, someone hands you the ingredient list, and you see with your own 2 eyes that it's just packed with toxic chemicals and, I don't know, industrial sludge. And in that split second, everything flips. That direct knowledge completely transforms the experience. The exact same sweet taste on your tongue suddenly feels gross, disgusting. That physical recoil, that gingery, that shudder where your whole body just wants to spit it out, that's the feeling of Nibbidā. The craving engine doesn't just slow down, it just shuts off completely. All right, number 3, the revealed scammer. We've all heard stories like this. Think of someone who is just laying on the charm, saying all the right things, making you feel like $1,000,000. But then you get cold, hard, undeniable proof that they're a total scammer, and they're just trying to take you for everything you've got. The second you know that for a fact, what happens? All that charm just becomes meaningless, right? Their sweet words are just noise. You don't even waste the energy to hate them. It's a total, complete withdrawal of your attention. They just become irrelevant. That absolute ice-cold shutdown of interest, that is Nibbidā in action.
And for our last one, let's bring it back to the title of this explainer, the useless subscription. You know the feeling. You're looking at your bank statement and realize you've been paying for some service every single month and it gives you absolutely zero value. It's just been quietly siphoning money from your account for nothing. So what do? You don't sit there and debate it, right? You don't try to work up a big feeling of hatred for the service. You just see the truth. The value exchange is zero. And click, you unsubscribe. It's a logical, totally effortless cutoff of energy. And that is the really practical, no-nonsense nature of Nibbidā. So look, these analogies, they're not just clever little stories. They're pointing to something really deep, a profound psychological and, you could say, spiritual mechanism. This great unsubscribing is literally the process of how seeing reality clearly leads you straight to freedom. At its core, this whole thing is about how our minds assign value. Think about it. We spend our lives pouring energy into things we think are pleasant, things we think are valuable. Nibbidā is the moment the system corrects itself. It's when your internal valuation system sees, with total clarity, that something you thought was going to bring you happiness is actually just a setup for suffering, and in that moment of seeing, its perceived value just plummets straight to zero. Here's another really great way to think about it. Imagine craving is like this hot, loud engine that's always running, always pushing you to go, go, go. Well, Nibbidā is the cooling system. It doesn't try to smash the engine with a hammer, it just cuts the fuel line. It lets the heat of all that obsessive desire just naturally cool down and dissipate on its own. And this really brings us to the most important point of this whole thing. You ready? You cannot force Nibbidā. You can't just grit your teeth and will yourself into disenchantment. It's not a tool you pick up and use. It's a state that arises all on its own as the natural, inevitable result of seeing things clearly, just as they really are. So that leaves us with a final question, and this one's for you. When you look at your own life, at the habits, the desires, the attachments that are just draining your energy for basically no return, the real question isn't how do I fight these things? The real question is, what do I need to see more clearly about them? What are you ready to unsubscribe from?